form a kind of two-headed monster that is devouring America. So the function of the media, including the Washington political pundits, is really protecting the lies. And as Noam Chomsky said, manufacturing consent. It's the corporate media, and their function is to mold the collective to suit the interests both of big business and big government, which have now become completely interchangeable. It's virtually the same thing. They are, to a very significant extent, they are determining what people think about, and they are determining, therefore, the point of view or the place from which they are looking. It's controlling the public focus. And limiting, I think that's the right word, limiting where you can look. It's presented with, of course, the voice of authority. They're telling you what is important and what is not important, giving the wrong emphasis, a false perspective, critical omissions and distortions. What I'm looking at here is just raw information that I have collected over the past years, notes and thoughts about it. I want to repeat to you that I have not had the opportunity to condense this into a presentable form because we just found out a little while ago that this time space was open. Okay, Anchorman, Brokaw, Rathers, and Jennings. What are they? Well, I think basically they're propagandists. And I think network TV has one primary goal, and that is to create the consumer mentality. And they have a vested interest in your shallowness, in your stupidity. The more you are addicted to the comfort zone, the less you are willing to go deep, the happier they are and the better consumer they think you're going to be. Consumerism is passive. You know, it's incompatible with the idea of an active citizen. The average American hypnotized by television. A whole nation is systematically stupefied by commercial television. Subliminal program, why ask why? Watch football, drink beer, eat pizza, don't question, don't think. That's the subliminal message. Television hypnotizes, mesmerizes, and numbs your brain cells. I think in a sane society, all commercials would be, if not banned from television, would be presented on separate channels. You might have 20 separate channels where commercials could run continuously, and you could choose to watch them to find out what's available. But there's no doubt that in between, in the middle of their programming, virtually every commercial that you see is an effort to shape your point of view, to control the way you think, to establish the priorities of your life. They are the masters of mass manipulation. They are hiring they're hiring the leading behavioral scientists to develop these commercials, to manage the collective consciousness. Furthermore, we found out in 1978, I think it was 78, through the Senate committee, the Church Committee, Senator Frank Church, in his report to the Congress, he indicated that they had found credible evidence for at least 400 CIA agents that were operating in the elite media. That means ABC, CBS, most of the major newspapers. It is, without a doubt, a system of censorship, a system of lies. Who owns the national media? Well, we just heard from Cohen and Solomon. It's the very same multinational corporations and banks who control the government. It's the very same ones by name. I really do think that it does shut down your ability to feel and your ability to think. I don't mean that you should never watch television. I mean, I'm thankful that you're watching it now. But you have to understand the viewpoint that is operative here and the purpose that's operative here. We have Huxley, who wrote Brave New World, speculating on the existence of some kind of, this is in the 30s, speculating on some kind of media that could unify public experience, that could standardize public experience to the extent that it could be predicted and manipulated and managed. He was, in fact, a prophet because he was anticipating exactly how television is being used. Well, I guess we're just going to move to various subjects today. We'll talk just for a moment about the CIA, the CIA's secret drug traffic. We haven't talked about this in a while. There is substantial documentation that to finance their covert operations, the CIA has imported thousands of tons of heroin and cocaine into America. You wonder why there's a drug problem. That's why. It's not the mafia. Well, the mafia is involved, and many of the books that I have read definitely indicate that the mafia is working in some kind of agreement with this submerged element of the CIA. The CIA brings the drugs in or escorts them in, allows them to get in, and then they are distributed to the mafia, who then in turn distribute them to the people, to the cities. This idea, this black operations, it's like the iceberg, you know, 90% of the CIA is under the surface, not something that anyone can get a good look at. They're involved in drug running, assassinations, covert wars. These utterly illegal and morally vacant black operations increased very dramatically during the tenure of George Bush as the CIA director. And yet, thanks to the media, the public perception was totally, diametrically the opposite, as Director Bush appeared to be cleaning up and even saving the agency. In fact, it only sank deeper into the darkness. John Stockwell, CIA station chief in Angola under George Bush, has left the agency, and most of you know that he is very outspoken in his criticism of the CIA. This is a quote from John Stockwell. He says, quote, "I think the primary job was to facilitate the dominion of multinational corporations under the guise of stopping communism. I think it had little to do with protecting America." John Stockwell. Bottom line, the United States is run by criminals. When are we going to understand that? There is a secret government, there is a secret agenda. And as I was looking through a history text just a couple of nights ago, I realized that history is in fact a record of lies. History is the cover story. History is what we're given to believe, but the true history of the world is the unwritten secret history of cartels. For example, World War I and World War II were entirely engineered for profit. It's a fact of the 20th century that 100 million humans have died for profit. Washington